Hello and welcome to the Winners Never Quit podcast, all about mental resilience, learning from hardship, all to build a winner's mindset. Hosted by myself, Jack Jarvis, and if you could like, follow or subscribe to the podcast, I would really, really appreciate it. Today I am joined by Caroline Dubois. Now Caroline is a professional boxer who won gold at the Youth Olympics in 2018 and won the World Youth Championships 4 times. Since turning pro last year, she was currently 5-0, soon to be 6-0, and she joins me now. Caroline, how's it going?
I'm good, thank you.
Mate, I've just seen you in the open workout, looking sharp, looking ferocious.
Thank you.
So yeah, I'm very confident you're going to go to 6-0.
All the things you want to be seeing and hearing. So it was good, you know, to go out there and show a little bit to people and have people come down and see us for a while.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. Thank you for coming on the pod, and we start every pod the same. Yeah. How do you define winning in your life?
How do I define winning? I think the major part about winning is feeling content and happy within yourself. There's nothing worse than winning and feeling like you're lost and you're confused and it didn't mean anything. You know, every time you win, it's got to mean something for you and hopefully for others as well. You know, winning is obviously a major part of life, and how you win is different to each and every person. You know, some people win is just getting up in the morning and being able to see their family. Some people, they've got massive goals and they want to be doing this and doing that. But for me, winning is just obviously every day I get up, I complete what I set out to do, train, stay strict on my diet, and hopefully see my family happy around me.
No, that's beautiful. Brilliant answer there. We'll talk about your fight that's coming up, but let's roll it back. You come from a big family. Your brother's Daniel Dubois, so you've got that boxing sort of blood in you. But tell me about your childhood and growing up and what led you to becoming wanting to become a boxer.
We've always been a sporty family. My dad put all the kids in sports. You know, I did running, gymnastics, swimming, and I enjoyed it. It was fun for me. It really was just fun for me. But there was something different about boxing. I remember walking in the gym and that feeling of there's something different. It's not just a fun atmosphere. There's something about this. There's something intense. There's something, you know, worth fighting for. And I know that if I were to lose, it would devastate me. So I picked that up straight away in the boxing gym, and it's great being in the gym surrounded by your family and your brothers. Obviously, my brothers box as well, so it's good. You know, we're always motivating each other.
Yeah, motivation, that competitive sibling rivalry, I'm sure. Yeah. So how old were you when you started boxing?
I was 9 years old when I first started boxing. I remember asking my dad if I can go down to the gym on Saturdays, which is when they had the undercarded boxes, so like everybody of under 11. And I was like, can I go down? And I kept asking. And he would always be like, yeah. At first he was just brushing it off, and then he was like, yeah, I'll take you down Saturday. And Saturday just kept coming and going, and I wasn't going anywhere. And I guess I was just persistent, and I kept bugging him about it, and eventually he took me down, and it was from there on. He saw how ambitious and how much I actually loved the sport. Straight away I just picked it up that I really wanted to do it.
Yeah, no, totally. And where does that determination, because you've shown great, you know, to stick with it to the age you now, and you've been very successful, and you don't get to where you are without hard work, but even at a young child you were determined to go. Where does that come from?
I suppose being the middle child, you know, you're the one that's overlooked a lot, and you got, obviously, being a big family, you know, there were 7 of us. Every kid has to fight for their attention. Every kid has to fight for their respect and their, that's not just one of my children. That's Caroline, you know. So as a young kid, I guess I knew that if I was gonna be special, if I was gonna do something, I had to do something special. And I saw that my brother was getting a lot of attention in the boxing, and I suppose I wanted some of that. I wanted some of the attention. I wanted some of the respect for myself as well. You know, I wanted direction, and I wanted something to be dedicated towards. And I found that in boxing, thankfully.
Oh, amazing. So your brother's doing well. At what point did you realise that you were above average, well above average at boxing, and it could potentially be a career?
I think I picked that up straight away because in the gym at Repton, I was the only girl. Obviously, when I first went to Repton, I couldn't tell them that I was a girl. You know, most boxing clubs back then, it was amateur boys boxing clubs. Amateur boys boxing clubs, if you went there and you were a girl and you said, oh, I want to join up, they'd be like, nah, girls can't do this, they can't fight, they can't compete, they won't be able to keep up with the training. Who could they spar? They can't spar the boys. But I was already sparring the boys, I was training with the boys, I was running, I was doing everything. And that told me straight away, I'm doing something that there's no one else doing. You know, I was in a gym surrounded by only boys. I was the only girl in the club up until it must have been like 15, 16 that I actually saw other girls start turning up into Repton in any other club that I was in. Only then was I seeing it, and I knew that there's something special about me, and I'm doing something that nobody else is doing.
Talk us through that first World Championships you went to.
It was amazing. I remember going out there. It was in Hungary, Budapest. It was actually really, really, really nice. I was shocked how nice Budapest was. And
what year was this?
It must have been 2017, 2018 time.
Okay.
And I remember going out with a strong team, a strong English team, loads of girls, all the boys, and everyone was so nervous, so excited. I remember seeing the USA team rocking up, and everyone was like, wow, look, there's the USA members. Seeing the Kazakhstan, China, and it was just so amazing. That's the best bit about amateur boxing, is when you're traveling the world and you're seeing, your eyes open up, your mind opens up when you're seeing all these different countries, all these different nations, cultures, and to get in that mix with them and be like, I'm the best out in the whole world. That's an amazing feeling. And it was a great experience going to the World Championships.
Did you win your first World Championships?
Yeah, I won the first one.
No biggie.
No, it was good, you know. If I remember, I fought, I think it was New Zealand or Australia in my first fight, and it was just such a weird country. You wouldn't, like, I'd never fought anyone from that side of the pond before, and that was just fun. And then I fought
that side of the pond, that side of the world. You know,
that
down
like,
there, yeah, you're right. They're not a famed boxing nation. You just think rugby, really.
Exactly, yeah. So I fought Australia, I fought Brazil, I fought Russia in the finals. I think I had 4 fights. I can't remember who the other one was. And it was just amazing to get in the ring with all these different girls, different countries, different cultures, and be the best out of all of them.
What was going through your mind in the final there?
I wanted to win so bad, you know. It was the first.
I should hope so. Do you know what I mean?
I got in that far. You can't come that far just to come that far.
Yeah.
You know, imagine getting to the world final and losing. That's just horrible. And so I really, really, really just wanted to get it done. You know.
Yeah.
Get the victory and just be like, yeah, I'm a world champion. So it was very intense for me, and it was like everything could go right and everything could go wrong. So, you know, we only have 3 rounds, 3 minutes, and it was intense, but I managed to pull it off.
Amazing. And how do you mentally prepare for that, to block out the outside noise and focus on the job in hand?
I feel like you just have to stay switched on. You have to keep looking at the end goal, you know. Take every round as it comes, every minute as it comes, every second. You know, be present. I keep saying that, and I'm not sure if, like, when I say be present, I mean to be there in the moment. Don't drift off, like, mentally. Don't be thinking of the future. Don't think of what could go wrong. Don't think of what could go right. Just be there, be present, be in the moment, and enjoy it.
Yeah. So you've gone to your first World Championship, and then I'm sure the Youth Olympics was pretty...
was the qualifiers, which was also pretty awesome, because you had to win the Worlds to qualify for the Youth Olympics.
You had to win it
to qualify.
No pressure.
And it was intense. And obviously when I won the Europeans that year as well, I was like, wow. I remember phoning up my dad saying, I qualified for the Youth Olympics. It was just so insane, and the whole prep going to the Olympics, and it was just amazing, really, really fun.
What was that feeling like when you phoned your dad and you told him you'd won and you'd qualified for the Youth Olympics?
It was amazing. I remember phoning him, and I was just so happy, so excited. I was just so excited. You know, the Youth Olympics is basically a dress rehearsal for, like, the real thing, you know.
Yeah.
And the best in the world are going to be there. And it's not just boxing, it's the world. It's sports. And it's a celebration of sports. And I was so excited to be selected and to qualify. It's different when you qualify for your own hard work and for your own achievement.
So the Youth Olympics, what was the step up like?
It was funny, because I went out there and I had so many, like, imaginations of what it's going to be like, the village, the fact that we had a village and a whole different sports and everything. It was just a different level in sport. It was a different level. I was so excited, and it was such an amazing experience. And the boxing, obviously, because we're fighting at a high level for a different goal, a different, the stakes went up. Everybody upped their game. I feel like when we went out there, everybody was just so mentally switched on, and that wasn't just us, like the English boxers. It was the whole world. USA, America, Thailand. Everybody was there, and you could tell there was intensity, and everybody was just switched on. Everyone wanted to perform and bring back a medal, bring back a gold medal, and it was great.
How many fights did you have at the Olympics?
Four. I had four.
Who was the toughest?
I think the girl in the final I think it was Thailand that I fought, and yeah, I think she had more fights than me, and we're both I think we were both the same age, and we were both like, I remember warming up, and I was looking at her, she was looking at me, we were both staring each other out, the usual staring out each other, and it was just great. It was great, but I was so switched on, so I was just ready. I knew I was gonna win. I knew I was better than her. And I know that it was great. It was great confirming,
Were there any good parties in the village once you'd won
It was great.
gold?
It was everyone crazy. Obviously, the final day, everyone just went crazy. There was like fireworks. Everyone was just so excited. It's an experience, going to the Youth Olympics is basically a dress rehearsal for the real thing. And it was fun. It was all these kids. Some were older, some were younger, and you're surrounded by just great athletes, the best in the world, the best at their business, the best at their sport, and it's good to be surrounded by people like that, so you can be obviously motivated and see how they prepare for things and stuff.
So you've won gold.
Yeah.
Obviously had a fantastic 2018.
Yeah.
What was the following years like? And
it was hard.
How do you remotivate yourself after winning at the top level?
Obviously the Olympics, like the real ones at 2020, was the major motivation. I wanted to go to them so bad. Obviously I had to get on the GB team, which is where the seniors fight at, and I was youth at the time, and I wanted to get on the GB team, and it was so many competitions. Like obviously the weight that I was in was the busiest division. Even in boxing right now, the weight that I was at, lightweight, is the busiest. That's where the most women just fall at naturally, height wise, weight wise, starts like that. And on the GB team there was just so many girls who are all aiming for the same thing, and I'm just coming straight out from the youth. So I've won all these titles, I've won all these things, and now I've got to prove myself on the big stage with the big women. And it was a lot of competition. It was very mentally draining. It was very hard getting on the GB team and performing and fighting.
So we've talked about the highs,
Yeah.
but I want to talk about maybe some of the hardships you faced in your career.
Yeah.
What would you say has been the toughest moment of your amateur career?
I think I would say the journey to get in there, how lonely it is. I think people, obviously, on days like this, when there's media days and there's cameras and everyone's like, wow, it's so great. You got all these people around you wanting to see you do well and obviously patting you on the back and stuff. But I don't think people realize how lonely it can be when there's no one there. And you got to get up and it's a cold morning. You got to get up and you got to either make weight, you got to run, you got to train, you got to put in the extra miles, and you're all alone. There's nobody there that's going to be there with you. Nobody there that's going to be motivating you. There's nobody there that really is can help you. And you're on it on your own. And the only thing that's keeping you going is your own dreams and your own aspirations. And that's actually the hardest bit, is staying motivated, especially when it can be so lonely.
Believe that loads, because when I was rowing the Atlantic, it's easy to be disciplined when everyone's around.
Yeah, 100%.
But when you're on that boat by yourself,
when you're on your own, it's
and you
different.
can just snooze that alarm, stay in bed 10 more minutes
It's hard.
longer. It is hard. So I really appreciate that. Coming into, was it the European where you fought Kelly Harrington?
Yeah, that was the Olympic qualifiers.
Yeah. Because you did qualify for the Olympics, didn't you?
I did qualify.
Yeah.
I qualified. I got to the finals. I got a silver medal at the European Games, which is pretty mad.
Yeah.
Obviously,
massive achievement.
It's funny when you're going for it, you don't really see it as a massive achievement. But when you look back at it, you realize how hard it was, how tough it was, especially for me, because I was really struggling with making the weight. I was really struggling with the whole other side of boxing, which is the behind the scenes stuff, the training, the discipline, the being away from your family, being alone and being like that. I was only 19 years old. I got put up in GB Sheffield alone, and there's like 5 girls who all want your spot. There's 5 girls who obviously want your spot. You want their spot. They're all aiming for the same thing, and that's really, really mentally tough. And I was 19 years old. I went to the Olympic qualifiers, 5 fights, and I think it was in 6 days. That was crazy. And I remember just beating the girls like one after the other. It was mad. And I fought I I fought Myra Potkinen, who was the Olympic bronze medalist, beat Katie Taylor, who beat Kelly Harrington, who was actually
Beat Katie Taylor.
yeah, beat Katie Taylor at the 2016 Olympic Games. Was winning the Europeans every year running. I remember seeing her, the way she was just walking around the venue, the way she was walking around the competition. She was like in the Europeans, she was always winning the Europeans. She was the girl that was expected to win everything, and there was this aura around her where she was like, I don't know, like she knew she was good. She knew that people were intimidated by her, but I was just like, I need to go to the Olympic Games, and there's no one that's gonna stop me. So I remember getting her. She was my second fight, and if I lost, I wouldn't have qualified for nothing. You know, I had no ranking, I had nothing. I had to win these qualifiers. I had to get to the finals, and I beat her. And then it was the next girl who I thought was the Swedish girl who was, I think, European Games bronze medalist. I beat her. I went on and I fought the Italian who was the European Games, another bronze medalist. I beat her, and it was mad. And then I obviously got to the finals. I qualified for the Olympic Games at this point, and it was just insane. It was so mentally draining. It was so hard. Like people don't realize how hard it actually is, but it was really hard. And I look
Don't
back at
worry,
it now.
Caroline. I think people appreciate how hard you've had to work.
It was hard, you know. Like unless you're there, unless you know it, then you know it. But it was a great experience. I look back at it now and I realize how good it was. I said to myself, I just want to go out there and perform as best as I can. It doesn't matter if I win, lose. I just need to go out there and perform at my best ability, so that when I look back, I won't feel like I left anything in the ring. But I left everything, you know. So I'm proud of what I achieved.
No, and you should be. Silver medal's incredible.
Yeah.
And Kelly Harrington was probably, 30
Yeah.
then?
Yeah, 30. I'm not sure, 32 maybe.
So you think of the experience she had in the amateur, and she went on to win gold in the Olympics, didn't she? So
it was mad. It was obviously heartbreaking. I'm not somebody who enjoys losing. I'm not gonna be like, I lost to, Olympic whatever. It's alright, but I was devastated. I was crying. I was just devastated because I really wanted to win. I really wanted to be the best, and it's hard when you get beat by somebody who's just better than you, or maybe you let yourself down. It's just hard, but it's something I look back at and I realize the whole experience of it is strengthened me to who I am now. The fact that I went in there alone, 19, 20 years old, alone, where I was competing against women who had all fought around on the circuit. They all knew each other, and I was the new kid on the block, this little baby, and I was competing with the best of them, and I was beating them. So I look back at it now as a great experience, a great learning experience, and unfortunately, you learn more from your losses than you do your victory.
And I don't want to say she wasn't better than you. Just more experience.
Yeah.
Just more experience. More experience.
Yeah.
You've come off the back of the European Championships. How long between then and the decision to turn pro was there?
So obviously I went to the Olympic Games and I had that experience, and then I remember before when I went to GB, boxing and amateur, was aiming for the Olympic goals. I had this dream in my head that I wanted to go to the Olympics, obviously win a gold medal, turn pro, be like Katie Taylor, like Clarissa Shields, like my role models, and then turn pro after that. Obviously it never went as it was planned, but I think I learnt more from the losses than I did from if I had won. And I came home and my dad was like, okay, you've achieved so much, you've done it. Like, what are you going to try? Like, of course you can go back to the Olympics and you probably would win, but, and then what? Just do it now. Jump when it's, when it's still scary and there's still so much to learn. You'll learn as a pro. You'll be gaining experience, and you just get your foot through the door. And it was hard for me to make that decision because for so long, as an amateur boxer, my dream was to be an Olympic gold medalist, and it's hard to let that go. When you're a kid. Everybody has a dream when they're kids. Some kids want to grow up and be an astronaut. They want to be this. They want to be that. But I wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist. And when you're so close but so far, it's hard to let it go,
That old saying, close but no cigar.
Yeah.
No, I get that. And what was the biggest difference you noticed from turning pro to amateur?
It's a lot more you have to be self-driven. So that's why I actually really appreciate my experience as an amateur. Like when you're in the GB program, everybody gets up as a team. You get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. Everybody, you go for a run. You weigh in at the same time with everybody. You go for a run with everybody. You do S&C with everybody. You do your boxing training with everybody. It's very, you're team driven. You're team motivated. But when you turn pro, you're training at your own gym. You're training and you do the training that we do at Shane McGuigan's gym, but all the running, the S&C, that's yourself. That's you putting in that work behind the scene. So it's very self-driven, self-motivated, and I've had to learn that the hard way. And obviously, I've enjoyed it.
And did you go straight with Shane McGuigan?
Yeah.
How was that? How has he brought you on as a boxer?
When I turned pro, I knew that there was so many things I wanted to learn and work on. I didn't just want to go with somebody who's going to sharpen me up and make me learn through the fights and the sparring. I wanted someone who could teach me something that I wasn't learning. And I felt like I got that straight away when I first hit the pads of Shane. He was teaching me things that I didn't even know. Things that showed me how to turn my punches over, how to sit down on my punches properly. And there was that spark straight away. So I knew he was the one, and I'm happy that I'm on this journey with him.
Yeah, you were looking very good in the ring. You
Thank
two.
you.
I'm a little bit gutted he didn't let me jump in and spar. You said you needed some help. So 5 pro fights so far, 4 knockouts. Only one that's gone the distance. What was your favourite one?
Definitely the one at the E02 Arena with on the undercard of Clash of Shields and Savannah Marshall.
Yeah.
The build up, the fact that I was more excited.
That wasn't Rodriguez, was it? Or was it?
No, Clash of Shields and Savannah Marshall.
No, sorry, you fought
Melina Khalifa.
and then it was Rodriguez after that, wasn't that? Yeah.
Reduced the last one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my favorite fight. Actually, I think it was my favorite performance. It went a few rounds, and that was the best bit about it. Is that I didn't just blast her out because I was stronger than her. I beat her because I broke her down properly, and I was really just focusing and being present in the ring, and I was feeling everything, and I was reacting to everything, and I felt like I was really, really calm and mature in that fight, and the performance was just a very mature performance, even despite the fact that I've only had, at the time, 4 fights, and it was such a massive show, it was such a massive expectation.
Yeah, it was huge, yeah.
With Clash of Shields, Savannah Marshall, they were at each other's throats.
Yeah, they were, weren't they?
I couldn't even say fight week because they were at each other's throats for literally months leading up to that, so everybody came there, the noise when I walked out, there was a lot of expectations from my half, and obviously people were excited to see what this all-female show was all about. So I had to put on a good performance.
You certainly did. I want to ask you, as a boxer, I say you're happy to get the rounds. Is it frustrating when you blast someone out there in one round, or are you like buzzing, easy night's work?
I know people always asking me that, but I feel like it just goes to show how much.
Because you don't get paid extra for going the full 6.
You don't. I always feel like you do your learning in the gym. People say you do it in the professional ring, and I understand that. But I feel like the learning happens in the gym, behind the scenes. And what we do in the ring is just, we show as much as we can. And you can only fight who's in front of you. And if I'm out there blasting at somebody who's never been stopped before, that just goes to show what I've been working on. And obviously you can't let it get to your head, because the next fight can be somebody that's really, really tough. So I just really enjoy every moment, every second. And if it's going to be quick, or if it's going to be short, or if it's going to be long, whatever, I just need to enjoy it and perform.
Totally. And we're talking about professional boxing, so I've got to ask, what is your opinion on influencer boxing? We've got Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury. We've got Jake. Yeah, Jake. Jake Paul and Tommy Fury fighting very soon. Just to hear your opinion on it.
At first, I suppose I was like the generic negative towards it, but I see it now.
I was the same.
It is.
I was the same.
Like, just like, what is this?
And I'm not even a boxer.
Yeah, I suppose I was the generic. What is this? It's a joke. But at the end of the day, these people, they're stepping in the ring, and boxing's a hard sport. And if they want to dedicate their time, their lives to do it, then let them do it. And if they're bringing in views and they're bringing in eyes that would never turn on a boxing,
totally
fight,
agree.
really
100%
ever,
agree.
then it's a good thing. There's no such thing as they're taking away from my shine.
No.
Everybody's just doing their own thing, and if they're bringing in views and bringing in a new audience, then let them do it the way they want to do it. Obviously, I'm actually interested to see how the Tommy Fury and Jake Paul fight goes, and I would definitely be interesting to see who comes out on top of that.
Yeah, no, and I was the same. I was like, nah, it's just a joke.
Yeah.
But now, you know, the audiences they're bringing in, you're right, and it's going to benefit everyone.
Everybody, yeah.
You know, because everyone's going to get more exposure to an audience that never watched it. So I couldn't agree more. So we've talked about, you know, goals.
Yeah.
What's your next goal in the sort of next 12 to 18 months?
I feel like I just want to. It's like being on a ladder. You know, every rung, if you pass one rung, you go up to the next one, up onto the next one, and the next one after that. Obviously, this fight, I'm fighting a 5-0 Argentinian, never been beaten before. I beat her, as I know I will. Then I go to the next one. It's stepping up. You know, you're going up every level. So the next one's going to be tougher. If I beat that one, the next one will be tougher. Beat that one, the next one after that is going to be tougher. I've got high ambitions, and I don't want to be that fighter who turns pro and just sits around twiddling their thumbs, you know, fighting 3 times a year, you know, living off what they achieved as an amateur. I want my successes to be what I achieve as a professional. You know, I want to go out there and dominate and take over this boxing business and be someone who's special. And to do that, I have to fight and beat good opposition and beat the best. To be the best, you have to beat the best. You can't do it just sitting around doing nothing. So I've got high ambitions, and I hopefully 5 fights this year. Hopefully be fighting for being in contention for a world title by the end of next year.
Amazing.
By the beginning of next year.
And I want to touch on something you said there. So you're fighting this opponent 5-0, never been stopped from Argentina. You're straight away, I know I'm going to win. And watching your last fight, you've got this like ferocious laser beam sort of mindset. You know what you're going to achieve. Where does that ferocious side come in from? And I only ask because we've been sat down, and Caroline, you're absolutely lovely. I could speak to you all day. Yeah. So where does that? How do you turn that on for fights?
I feel like it's a bit like everybody's got something inside of them that they keep. Either it never comes out and it's never gets shown, or it's something that comes out every once in a while. I feel like boxing has helped me bring out who I am inside. I feel like in boxing, you have to believe in yourself. You can't be coming in and turning up to a fight saying, "Oh, I think I'll do all right. You know, I should win." You have to believe in yourself. If you know, you can't expect people to back you if you don't back yourself. You gotta believe you're the best, even if you're not. Even if you still got learning to do and you still experience the game. You have to believe that you're gonna get there one day, somehow. You have to believe it, and that starts with you. I believe I'm gonna win. I believe I'm gonna continue to win, and you gotta speak it into existence, and you gotta work for it to happen. So I'm doing that. I'm grinding every day, working in the gym every day. So I back myself 100%. No,
I'm sure you're gonna do well. Have you had a good camp? Has everything sort of gone to plan?
Yeah, everything has gone great. You know, I've been doing a lot of sparring with the boys this camp. Haven't been getting much female sparring, but that's good because it's been tougher. And it's been constant learning, like a rolling ball. You know, from last year, the camp has been, I would say, continuous.
Is that tough to get female sparring? Female sparring partners.
It's very hard. You know, I end up getting with girls who are either bigger than me or heavier than me and stuff like that. Just because there's nobody else, you know, it's hard. It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially when you're that ferocious in there. I can't imagine you've got too many volunteers. Caroline, I've loved sitting down and speaking to you, and I really appreciate you coming on the podcast, all right? And we finish every podcast the same. I just want to know, if you could give one piece of advice to a younger Caroline, what would it be?
If I could give it to the younger Caroline, I would say not to give up, to keep going even when it gets hard, because it will get hard. Just continue pushing forward, just pushing through. I remember I saw somebody say, if you're going through darkness, if you're going through a tunnel, why are you going to stop when you're in the middle of it? You stop when you get to the end, when it's good. You know, if it ain't all right, then it's not the end.
That's a brilliant. Keep going, keep pushing. I like that.
Yep.
Guys, that is the end of today's episode. If you enjoyed it, please follow, like, subscribe, as it really helps grow the podcast. Guys, thank you for listening. Do you enjoy that?
Yeah, it was
Mate,
good.
Thank you so much.